Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Nicholas, one of two requests. Thank you so much for that, for your generosity and your patience. I do appreciate it. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour or full playthrough, tier list, ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for the best of martial arts films, which I was almost going to say documentary, but it's not really a documentary. This was, how do I put it? Really a sizzle reel, a glorified sizzle reel. Mostly for Golden Harvest type of stuff. Stuff produced by Fred Weintraub, and that Robert Klaus, the director, had a hand in it, and just this was directed by Sandra Weintraub, the daughter, I believe, of Fred Weintraub. Fred Weintraub was a guy at Warner Brothers. He produced Enter the Dragon, and I could be wrong, but I believe he let his daughter make it. I say direct, but it's just pretty much a bunch of clips of fights from movies, and you have some narration by John Saxon, who was in Enter the Dragon. And once in a blue moon, you get a little interview from someone, a little bit of clips from Sammo Hung, Jackie Chan, Cynthia Rothrock, little bit sprinkled throughout. But it's mostly fight scenes. Now, granted, I mean, that's not a bad way to spend 90 minutes watching some really cool fight scenes. Granted, in this day and age, this kind of thing isn't really needed nowadays, because you just go on YouTube and just type in, like anybody could have done this. Just put a bunch of fight scenes, put them together in a collage, a montage, and there you go. But this was 1990 when this came out, and you gotta understand, back then, without internet, for a lot of people, the easy access to see a lot of these films, because a lot of these films either were not readily available in America, or maybe a VHS or bootleg VHS, and some of these films were harder to find. Some of these Hong Kong films of Jackie Chan, like Project A or Project A Part 2, or Righting Wrongs, aka Above the Law, which had Cynthia Rothrock and Yuen Biao. A lot of times it was hard to find this stuff, or they weren't available yet in the US, or whatever the case. So a way to see it is go to the theater, because I think this was released in theaters, because you can find a theatrical trailer on YouTube of this. I don't know how many places it played at. But I mean, people, hey, you want to go in and you want to see some of these fight scenes, and maybe, oh, I haven't seen that movie, or maybe I'll catch that movie. And it was released on VHS. I know on some releases, I think when Taekwondo Strikes, and maybe another release, this was actually put on there as an extra. I believe, don't quote me on that. I mean, it's fun to watch as a novelty. If you don't know much about these Hong Kong films, this would be a good way for you to see this stuff, be intrigued, and hey, let me check that movie out. So it is fun to watch on that front. And again, compared to some of the stuff I've seen, watching 90 minutes of some pretty damn good fight scenes, not a bad way to pass the time. But I mean, it is a sizzle reel, hosted by John Saxon. I like John Saxon. Part of me could feel he didn't give a fuck about this. I know he was in Enter the Dragon, but I don't know why. Just some part of me figured he doesn't give a fuck about this. Just a very low-key demeanor. Also, he doesn't know a lot of these films, and some of the stuff they fed him the wrong info. Like, there's a bit later on where Jackie Chan and Benny the Jet Urquidez had two films where they have a fight, which makes sense to put best of the martial arts films, and that's what it's called. It was also known, I think, as the deadliest art. Again, funny how the best martial arts films, none of them include the Shaw Brothers movies. But yeah, that's because Golden Harvest had a big hand in the film. It's like, don't have any Shaw Brothers, so you're not going to have Five Deadly Venoms, Five Fingers of Death, 36th Chamber of Shaolin. You're not going to have any of that in there. So, go figure. Very interesting that none of those films are mentioned in this movie about the best martial arts films, you know. But as I was saying, they show a scene from Dragons Forever, but John Saxon says, "Here's a fight scene from Wheels on Meals." It's not from Wheels on Meals. They show that fight later in this, but the scene they're showing is not Wheels on Meals. It's from Dragons Forever. So, yeah, sometimes the info is wrong. And again, John Saxon doesn't know. I would bet money John Saxon, rest in peace, dude. I would bet money he never saw a Jackie Chan film. I would bet money on it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just saying. So it's whoever fed him the information. They didn't know what the hell they were talking about. It's like, no, that's not. No, dude, that's not Wheels on Meals. That's Dragons Forever. But yeah, John Saxon was given the wrong info. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then just looking at what was included and what was not included, based on the company releasing it, the people involved with it, Fred Weintraub's daughter, Golden Harvest. So these are the best martial arts films. This came out in 1990. So you're sitting there going, okay, not a single movie with Chuck Norris in it? Not a single movie with Chuck Norris. Bruce Lee is in it, and they show footage from The Big Boss, Enter the Dragon with the nunchucks, no fight between. How is it that you're showing all these fight scenes, but you don't show the fight between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris? How is that the case? You don't show the fight between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, but you're trying to show the greatest fights. And that's the thing, it's called the best of the martial arts films, but it seems as if the title wants to be the best of the martial arts fights in films. Because it's mostly showing fist fights, then near the end they show a little bit of sword fights, or spears, or Bruce Lee at the end with the nunchucks and stuff. But it's just the fight scenes, but they don't really go into the martial arts films and how they rose. Like, if this was the actual documentary, the rise of the martial arts films, and what was the first, and how did they come in, and how did America find these films, and American martial arts films compared to Hong Kong martial arts films, it doesn't go into any of that. It's really a scissor reel of fight scenes. So you'll have bits of The Big Boss, then some other stuff. Then Sammo Hung just interviewed a little bit about going to the Beijing Opera School. That you have to do a handstand on a stool placed on a table for an hour. But then it'll show clips from some of his films, including Eastern Condors. Great movie. Eastern Condors, I would say the best film Sammo Hung starred in my eyes. Then there's a bit where he fights Cynthia Rothrock, called Shanghai Express, I believe. Then we go into Cynthia Rothrock. There's a little bit of dialogue where Sammo's praising Cynthia, that her kicks are powerful, her movements are beautiful, and we see a bit of the fight between Sammo Hung and Cynthia Rothrock. And that's the thing, but also with these fight scenes, they don't always show the entire fight. Because the movie would be a lot longer than its 90-minute running time. So it's like showing fight scenes, but they don't show the whole fight scene in some of this stuff. They'll cut like parts of the beginning out or parts of the ending out or so forth. Then we showcase China O'Brien and Righting Wrongs, which they call Above the Law because that was the other title. And I like Cynthia Rothrock. I just find it funny that we don't want to include Chuck Norris at all. Like, none of his films that dealt with martial arts wasn't worthy to be on this list. But again, it's China O'Brien, who directed it. Robert Klaus, who did Enter the Dragon. Who produced Enter the Dragon? Jerry Weintraub. Who's directing this? His daughter. There you go. But there's chunks of time they spend a decent amount of time on China O'Brien. I mean, China O'Brien is what it is, but I wouldn't consider that one of the best martial arts films of all time. It's fine, or it's there, but they talk a little bit about Angela Mao. Well, not talk, they show a little bit of it. They show a bit from My Lucky Star, this girl Sybil Hugh versus this Japanese bodybuilder lady. And sometimes it feels I just hear they're talking about, like, they're showing some of the women in martial arts. Then they get into Jackie Chan, show a bit of Armor of God when he's fighting the Amazon women. Then taught a little bit of Jackie Chan, Project A with the bicycle stunt work. And Robert Klaus says he thinks Jackie Chan's better than Bruce Lee. He thinks Jackie Chan's a better actor. He deduced it with comedy. And I thought, I don't know, just something about that. I mean, it's his opinion. I just don't think that's fair to say because Bruce Lee didn't really get a chance. He didn't get that chance to do that. You know, the early films that Bruce Lee was in, like The Big Boss and the Chinese Fist of Fury, whatever. I get that confused. There's The Big Boss and there's the Chinese Connection. He didn't have a whole lot to really do, like, as in, he does a good job for what he's given, but he didn't really have the opportunity to do more like Jackie Chan and stuff did. He only had a couple films. But by this point, Jackie Chan did, I don't know, 20, 30, however many films. So that's not really fair to judge between the two. And would I consider Chan to be the better actor? I don't know. I think they both were equally good. They have different types of acting, though. But, I mean, it is what it is. Then they go into showing scenes of Yuen Biao and some scenes from films like Dragons Forever. That's around the time when you see Jackie Chan versus Benny the Jet, and John Saxon wrongly says From Wheels on Meals, but it's Dragons Forever. There's a little bit of Richard Norton, rest in peace Richard Norton, and him fighting Sammo Hung. And this really is just a series of, here's these little fight scenes in sizzle reel, again and again and again. And then you have a little bit of Sammo Hung talking, a little bit of Jackie Chan talking, a little bit of Cynthia Rothrock talking. That's pretty much it. Oh, and Robert Klaus, the director. Now, Jean-Claude Van Damme, they do mention, because, oh, he's a rising star, his unique kickboxing style, as they put it, and it's from No Retreat, No Surrender. Now, I don't know when this was made. I know it came out in 1990, but I don't know when they started editing and doing all this. Because, okay, It came out in 19... Like I said, I would like to know what year they started, because I know it's 1990, but no Steven Seagal. I know he was just in Above the Law, but if this was being done when Above the Law came out, which is a Warner Brothers movie, which Jerry Weintraub was part, you think they want to build up Steven Seagal as an up-and-coming star, and Steven Seagal's fight scenes. Or, okay, Van Damme, why don't you have Bloodsport? I think Bloodsport would be a better showcase of Van Damme than No Retreat, No Surrender, but again, it's just footage of what they wanted to show, or what they do get their hands on, or whatever, but I'm just saying, if you want to showcase Van Damme, I mean, he does good stuff in No Retreat, No Surrender, but I think a better showcase would have been Bloodsport. I still don't... I keep saying that, but it's, again, if it's more of the stuff they own or they're able to use, it's cheaper, so they don't use that. Again, deal with Golden Harvest, let's not show really any Shaw Brothers stuff. No Chuck Norris stuff. It's just one of those things where, is it the best of the martial arts films? Is it? Oh, another guy they do talk to is Keith Cook. Some people may go, who the fuck is Keith Cook? He was in China O'Brien with Cynthia Rothrock. Actually, later he would go play Reptile in the first Mortal Kombat live-action film. And I think he would play the other Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. The one with the scar, the thing over his eye. So I think he played... I guess you called was he the younger brother of Sub-Zero? But he played him in that second one, and Reptile in the first Mortal Kombat. So he's been around. He's a good martial artist. What was it they said that Robert Klaus or someone said, he's as fast as his feet as Bruce Lee was with his fists. I'm like, okay, are they trying to keep knocking Bruce Lee? Oh, well, Jackie Chan's a better actor, and this guy's feet is as fast as Bruce's fists. And I'm like... But at the end, it's like, we do save the best for last, and they show Bruce Lee with the nunchucks Enter the Dragon. So they show a little bit of supernatural films. One called Dreadnought with Yuen Biao, which that one I don't know about. So that one I'm like, okay, what is that movie about? One called Zoo, ZU, which I might have seen that, but I might be getting that confused with another movie. I thought this was random. They talk about ninjas, but of course no American ninja, which you think, okay, if you want to talk about martial arts films, American ninja? But it's like, nah, we're not going to deal with anything canon film-wise. Because, let's face it, no matter how they want to ignore it, canon films were a big reason why ninja became a craze in the U.S. Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3: The Domination, American Ninja 1 and 2, and then Shokuzuri would later get Pray for Death, and... what was the other fucking movie? I always forget what the hell the other movie called. Rage of Honor, 9 Deaths of the Ninja. He got that because of being in those canon films. None of those films I mentioned, by the way, are in this. I'm like, then why do you even bring up ninja in the first place? It's because The Master, you remember that? It's a TV show where Lee Van Cleef, from Escape from New York, from the Man with No Name trilogy, was a martial arts master, and it was hilarious because even the scene they're showing, he's fighting Sho Kasudi, but you tell that every bit of the fight is Lee Van Cleef's double. I never saw the TV show The Master. I've heard of it. But I'm like, wait, Lee Van Cleef is a ninja master? What? I like Lee Van Cleef, but he ain't no ninja master. He could barely move. With all due respect. And they, at the beginning, when they show who's in this, they prop up Sho Kasudi. Or at least in the trailer. I should say the trailer. If you watch the trailer for this. This is the only time they show Sho Kasudi. And it's on an episode of a TV show. How long did this show even last? The Master TV show Lee Van Cleef. How long did the show even last? 1 season. 13 episodes. As a 4.5 on IMDb. Man. 13 episodes. Well, I guess he wasn't on one episode. He was in, like, an ongoing thing. Apparently Demi Moore was in the first episode. Yeah, I've never seen the show, but 13 episodes, there you go. What year was this? 1984. Or hell, Chuck Norris was in one, which also had Lee Van Cleef in it. The Octagon, but they don't show that. They show a bit of the Bruce Lee versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Game of Death, which again makes it even weirder why they don't show Bruce fight Chuck Norris in Return of the Dragon. That's just weird to me. And like I said, the last bit is they show Enter the Dragon. So, I mean, it was an interesting thing to watch, yes. To see what they pit, what movies they pit. Definitely a chunk of Jackie Chan stuff. Sammo Hung. Yuen Biao. Some love for Cynthia Rothrock, which again, that's because they were doing China O'Brien. So I think they wanted to really prop her up. But she's a great martial artist. They show a little bit of her Hong Kong stuff. Nice that Richard Norton got a mention. I wish we could have had someone talk about him. That's the thing. I wish this was more of a documentary where you had people actually talking about the fights and talking about how it was to make the fights, how it was to do this fight. Sammo Hung has a scene with Richard Norton. It'd be nice if Sammo Hung said some words about Richard Norton. Or we had Richard Norton at this time. Because he was in China O'Brien's, and we got Keith Cook, and we got Cynthia Rothrock. Why can't we have Richard Norton give a few bits of dialogue to the camera about some stuff? So, if you're a martial arts fan, if you can find it to watch, you can pop it in. You don't have to worry about a story or anything. It's literally just once in a while John Saxon says something, and then once in a while there's a little interview thing, little bit. But it's mostly here's a fight scene, here's a fight scene, here's a fight scene, here's a fight scene, here's a fight scene. And for 90 minutes, so there you go. If you're into sizzle reels like that, it's fun to watch. Again, sometimes they get the info wrong. Sometimes you're wondering, okay, why did they choose that film? Or how come this person or these films are missing? Oh, because again, convenient. Golden Harvest is a part of this. Or at least the people involved. Because I think they released China O'Brien. I have a feeling if this was released a year or so later, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would have been on this, because I think Golden Harvest name was a part of that movie. So, there you go. Just missed out, I guess. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. It was interesting to watch. Just random that they put like The Master. Like, really? That show? No Chuck Norris, but we'll put The Master. Okay. It's your ball game, pal. No Inframan, fine. Oh, it is a Shaw Brothers. Okay. Just fuck Shaw Brothers. Like, when no Shaw Brothers in this bitch. Okay. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.